Oh shit! What's up, YouTube? Damn, went on live pretty fast. So, like I was telling y'all earlier in my little skit for my video, the Marvel cartoon, I had did this video yesterday on StreamYard, and it's a story going back to 2000 and 2001, and I caught my dope case in 1999, March of 1999, with a family member, and we sold a cop a pound of crank for $6,500 at Burger King. Some Northeno broad, some Northerner broad that I was hooked up with, hooked me up with this cop. We didn't know he was a cop. So me, him, my family member, and the girl that hooked me up with him, we all got arrested. So we got arrested for narcotics trafficking and selling a pound of crank. So of course I had a record. My family member didn't. He was only 18 or 19 at the time. We bailed him out. I didn't know he told on me at the time. I found out later he told on me. And I stayed at the county jail for a year, did my parole violation, and bailed out. I ultimately ended up taking a 5-year, 8-month deal. Got him a year county jail time with the ankle bracelet, and the broad that hooked me up with the cop got 2 years penitentiary time. So I got 5 years, he got a year, and she got 2 years. Okay, so I already been to prison 3 times before this dope case. So I go to prison, they send me to Solano State Prison. I get to Solano, it's a level 3 yard, I'm on B yard, which was 2 yard back then. And they had a gymnasium there. The gymnasium was called H Dorm. So they sent me to H Dorm. At the time, I just had my youngest son. He was 1 year old when I went to prison. When I got arrested for the case, he wasn't born yet. So he was born when I was at the county jail. When I bailed out, he was 4 months old. When I went back, when I turned myself in for the 5 years, 8 months, he was a little over a year. So I had to do 3 years on the 5 years, 8 months. So I get to Solano State Prison. And when I get there to B Yard, I got a homie from my neighborhood named Ty Stick, which is a little bit younger than me. I got a homie named Baby Squabbler. He was there. Grape Ape came later on from 29th Street. Slim, he was on the other yard, but on my yard, it was me, Grape Ape, Marcus from 21st Street, and Demon from Freeport. So that's who was on the yard with me as far as Sacramento Crips. We had a bunch of Sacramento Don Moos on the yard that we functioned with, which is what's his name? Collins, not Nigel, his brother. Damn, what was it? Spooky B was there. Spooky B from Oak Park was there. Rick from 17th Ave Oak Park was there. Trigger Roo from Meadowview was there. And I'm telling you all these people because they played a part in this story. And Sean Collins was there. Steve-O was there too. Steve-O Martinez, he was there too from Oak Park. So when I get there, you know, all my time in prison, all my cases that I ever did prison time on, if it wasn't a violation, I jumped into the drug trade because I always felt that I had to contribute to the people I left out here on the street. I had a newborn son. So I figured, you know, my wife had a good job, then I was married, but I still figured I had to contribute. And also the homies in prison, when you got homies in prison, most of them, sometimes, on this case, only one of them was getting money, and he was getting his money. So I figured, you know, I'd get in the drug trade. I always have. I was there on the dope beef, and I figured I'd do what I do best. I'd sell drugs while I was there. So at the time in 2001, there was Southsiders on the yard and there was Northerners on the yard. The Northerners were at war with Skinheads. So when I got there, all the Northerners were on lockdown. And what I mean by that is they got cell-fed and they didn't come to yard and they didn't have day room at the time when I got there. So I got there, I was in the H dorm with all kind of Southsiders, no Northerners in the dorm. So I was selling crank, which is crystal now, and black, which is heroin. So most of the customers in prison, when you sell crank and first of all, heroin is the drug of choice when you're in California State Prison. Back then, heroin was the drug of choice. A lot of people was on that shit. Now, when I left this time in 2018, when I paroled, everybody was on crystal, blacks, Mexicans. But back then, Mexicans and white boys was the main customers. So, of course, I had to make my money. So I was dealing with a lot of Southsiders and a lot of white boys. So I knew this white dude. His name was Tim. He was from Sacramento and he was from Del Paso Heights. I really knew his brother very well. His name was Dugan Cox. Rest in peace, Dugan. So Steve was his younger brother. Tim was his younger brother. And Tim used to come get dope from me every month and I'd let him run a bill up. Anybody in prison that's selling drugs, if you're going to be in the drug trade, I advise you not to be, because a lot of bullshit comes with it, and is more likely than not you're going to catch a case behind drugs, people owing you money. The rule of prison is if someone owes you $200 or more and they're delinquent on their bill, you don't supposed to hands on. You don't supposed to fight them. You don't supposed to do none of that. You're supposed to go to their people. There's an unwritten rule that I can't fight or stab another race. There's different avenues you have to go through. Like, say a Southsider owed me some money and he was delinquent on his bill. He wasn't on time on his bill. I would have to go to his people and let them know, look, man, such and such owes me this much money, and they would take care of it. They would pay the bill, and then they would go do whatever they had to do to him. That's the rule in prison. You don't supposed to put your hands on another race. You don't supposed to stab another race. That's the golden rule in prison. You're supposed to go to their people, and their people take care of it, right? So this white boy Tim, I've been knowing him for a long time, and I used to let him run up a little a bill with me every month, and he would pay it. So I was there maybe almost a year. Tim was always on time. These two skinheads came from another prison. I think they came from a Calipat. They came from a level 4, and they was bona fide skinheads. They was known. One's name was Madball, and he was from Santa Cruz. Tim knew these cats. So Tim introduced me to Madball and his partner. I don't remember his partner's name, but he was a skinhead also. Madball was about 5'8", maybe a $140 at the most. And he was blasted. His whole face was blasted. And he was a skinhead. He was representing skinheads. If anybody knows about California prison system, skinheads and blacks and skinhead and northerners don't get along at all. We're like worst enemies. And being that I wasn't a black Crip, I was a Mexican and Portuguese Crip, they really didn't like me at all. And I knew that going into this, right? White boys don't like, and Mexicans don't like Mexican or white Crips in prison. They usually take off on you. And I've had that done plenty of times. But at this prison, there was very few whites at this prison at the time. And the whites that were there, they was from Northern California, so they rock different than Southern California whites. They grew up around blacks and Northern Mexicans, so they had a little different swag about them. Northern California white boys are way different than Southern California white boys. Let's just let me clear that up. So what happened was Tim introduced me to Madball and his partner, right? So I was, like I said, I was selling black and I was selling clear. And Tim said their money was good. So I went along with Tim's word. He co-signed for these cats, right? So I always let people, I give them the benefit of the doubt, but I don't let them get too far in debt unless I really know you and I did business with you before. So Madball came to me and he wanted a gram of crystal. It was crank back then. I keep saying crystal, which I was selling a gram for $250 to $300 at the time. And a gram in prison of crystal is a chapstick cap. That's how we measure a gram out. Now, black is different. If you guys know what a match head looks like, the head of a match, that's $50 worth of heroin back then. So I'd sell 50 papers for $50. I get 8 to 10 of those out of a gram, or I would sell a gram for $350 of black. So Madball came, he wanted a gram of crystal crank, and he wanted 250 papers. So that was 350, right? So I went ahead and gave him the what he asked for, what he inquired about, right? So he owed me $350. And this is in November. It was right before Thanksgiving, November of 2001. I got there around October, November of 2000. That's when I got to Solano. So I've been there a year, a little bit over a year. So I knew the ropes. I know who was who on the yard. I know who had money, who didn't have money. And I had all Sacramento Bloods and Crips behind me because I was feeding a lot of people on this yard. Me and Sean Collins worked together at the time. He was doing his thing, I was doing my thing. We had worked together. And Sean's like, rest in peace, Sean Collins. Sean's like an OG from Sacramento, and he was a reputable ass dude. So, you know, I was doing my thing. I fronted this dude, Madball, a gram of crystal, and 250 papers of heroin. So I gave him 2 weeks. Back then, in 2000, 2001, there was no phones in prison. So how we would get paid for drugs or tobacco, no, tobacco was legal back then. How we would get paid for these kind of transactions was they would either ride home or get on the phone and ask their people to get a money order and send it to a P.O. box to me. Once my girl or whoever I had on the street went and checked the P.O. box and verified that I got the money from them, their debt was paid, and I'd front them some more. That's how it was. A slow process selling drugs back in the 90s, in the early 2000s. It was done with money orders. Nowadays, you got PayPal, you got Cash App, you get your money immediately. Back then, it was a whole nother ball game. You would have to wait for your money, and anything could happen. So it was a risky game. Okay, so Madball owed me $350. That's as deep as in debt I was going to let him get. He wanted some more. So what he did was he had his partner, the one that rolled up with him. I forget his name, but I remember he was from Monterey County, and he came and he asked me for the same thing. He wanted a gram of crystal and 250 papers of black. Now, remember I told you at the beginning that Tim co-signed for these cats. So I said, fuck it. I went ahead and gave it to the other cat. So now between the two of them, they owe me $700. Tim co-signed. This is someone I've been knowing for a while, and I've been knowing his brother and his mom for a long ass time. So I figured, they'd pay me. Well, Madball's deadline was coming up. So I asked him, I said, man, check this out. Are you going to have the money? It's like 2 days away. He said, yeah, it'll be there within 2 days. So I was like, all right. So after his deadline came and went, I waited 3 days, gave him a few days time to see if the money was there. And the person I had checked said, no money came from them people from Santa Cruz or Monterey. So H-Dorm is basically about 250 to 300 people, inmates, convicts in this big ass dorm. King Humphrey was in there with me too. And Josh Siri was in there with me. And them were Sacramento cats. They're reputable cats. I know them right now on the street. Josh Siri and King Humphrey. What's up, King? If you're seeing this, what's happening? So anyway, H-Dorm is set up like this. They got triple bunks and double bunks in this big ass dorm with 250 to 300 people. My bed was on the left wall. So when you walk in the door to H dorm, there's a wall. There's 4 walls. The back wall had a bathroom and the showers. Um, the side wall when you walk in, that's where my bed was. It was 4 beds down from the door. So that was called a Cadillac bunk because we had a wall right there. All the other bunks was in the middle of this dorm and you didn't have no privacy. So me and I think Spooky B, no, Spooky B wasn't my bunkie at this time. I think Marcus was my bunkie this time, but Spooky B was my bunkie at one time in H dorm. But I think Marcus was my bunkie at this time, if I'm not mistaken. So after his deadline, after Mad Ball's deadline came, the lights go out at 10 o'clock in H dorm. And when the lights go out, you can still walk around the dorm, but it's more quieter. You can go to the smoking area and smoke cigarettes. You can go to your homie's bed area. As long as you're quiet in there, they don't mind you walking around. Now there's a gun tower and there's 2 COs. Was it 2? No, it was 3 COs on the floor. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe it was 2. I think it was 3, and 1 cop up in the gun tower with a Mini 14, right? So after the 3 days passed, after his 2-week deadline, it was after 10 o'clock, the lights went out. So my bunk, like I said, is against the wall. So the aisle, when you walk in my bunk area, my TV's against the wall on top of my locker, and then there's two stools in my bunk area, one for me and one for my bunkie. So I call Mad Ball over to my bunk area. It's 3 days past his deadline. I tell him, come over to my bunk. I want to holler at you. He said, all right. So he came over there. When he came to my bunk area, I was already sitting on the stool closest to the locker against the wall, and he sat on the stool next to the aisle. Now it's dark in here, and there's people talking in different bed areas. There's TVs going real low. My TV was on without the earplug. So when he came in my bunk area, the TV was up, kind of loud, not real loud, but kind of loud. So I started talking to him and I asked him what's up with my money. And I told him, man, when you're late, I double up the bill because you're late. And he didn't like that. So he had said something. We kind of had a little bit of confrontation in the bed area. So I really wasn't hearing him that good. So when I turned around to turn my TV down, he took off on me. He punched me in the back of my ear right here when I was turning this way to turn my TV down. When I get hit, I turn around and fire back, and he's gone. He took off on me and he ran. Now, mind you, 300 people, 150 bunks in this dorm, and it's nighttime. Lights are off, right? Back then, the cops didn't care if you put blankets. If you put blankets on the side of your bunks, like the bottom bunk, you could put blankets covering it so the night lights wouldn't shine in. They didn't care if you covered your bottom bunk, and I had the bottom bunk. So you got 150 beds with blankets and towels, covering the sides. So when he took off on me, my bunkie wasn't there. He was walking around, and the homie, Demon from Freeport, was in the dorm with me. Grape Ape, Marcus, Spooky B. Them were the dudes I used to hang around with every day. So I went and found Marcus and Demon. So we was walking around after he hit me. He didn't do nothing really. He hit me and ran. It didn't phase me nothing. So now I'm looking for this cat. We're walking around this dorm looking for him. We go to his bunk area. He ain't in his bunk area. We're walking around till 1 a.m. So what he did was he hid in one of his partner's bunk area, and he hid in a bunk where we couldn't find him. I was tired, so it was no problem. We're gonna handle it tomorrow. So something not like this happens, it's mandatory. Oh shit, my battery's getting low. That's called for a stabbing. I was supposed to stab that dude. First of all, he took off on another race. He didn't get permission, and it was his drug debt. So that told us he was about to PC up over this drug debt, right? And I'm going to hold Tim accountable because he co-signed. So what we did was there was 4 of us. It was me, Marcus, I think Spooky B, and Demon. And we decided to wait till breakfast time. At breakfast time, We was gonna stab this cat. And you know, it was my business, so I was gonna stab him, even though I didn't have to. The homie wanted to do it. I figured, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and stab this cat. At the time, I told you the Northerners were on lockdown. Well, they was on modified program, and they was just letting the Northerners off a lockdown from being locked down for a year. So breakfast time comes, and we're up. We get suited and booted. We put all our state issue on, all our state property on, because when you're about to go to the hole, you don't want to wear your own clothes. So we got our state issue on, right? So we go to the door to get released for chow, and we're looking for this cat, and we don't see him. Well, another white dude told me that they left out at work and school release. Work and school release leaves at 6:30. Chow don't happen until 7:15, right? So these cats took off before chow time. And that told me they was up to something. They was hiding from us. So what happened was, when the door opened for chow, we seen them over there at the tables, and we seen all the Northerners. It was like 8 Northerners in front of 8 building. Now, mind you, Solano set up like this, and I don't know why they do this. So the gymnasium door where I lived, the chow hall was 2 doors over from the gym, right? We had to walk 10 feet to go in the chow hall. They didn't let us do that. They made us walk around this big ass long track to go in the chow hall. So we had to walk by 12 building, 11 building, 10 building, 9 building, 8 building. We had to walk around all, no, I think it was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it was 7 building, 8 building, 9 building, 10 building, 11 building. 9 and 10 building were the whole. So it was only 3 buildings in H dorm that was that this yard consisted of. So the Northerners were on a modified program. They let them go to chow, but they didn't let them come to yard, and they let them stay in the day room because they was letting them off gradually, right? So there was 8 Northerners standing in front of 8 building, and the Northerners usually stood there and waited for their homies out of 11 building to come so they could all go to chow together. Well, we seen Madball and his partner and one other white boy walk. They was walking kind of fast, and we was trying to catch them, right? They stayed out there until chow time, and they ran up on the Northerners and took off on the Northerners. So they had this shit planned. The Northerners smashed them, beat the shit out of them. I mean, when I say smashed them, these dudes, one of them had to go to the hospital, not Madball, the other one, his partner. So the Northerners smashed them, and the Northerners weren't prepared for these dudes to do that because they was just getting off lockdown, and they didn't know about what was going on with me. So these white dudes, instead of staying there and dealing with the consequences, what we was gonna do to them, what they did was they PC'd up by taking off on the Northerners. So what happened was they laid the yard down. They take Madball and his partner to the hole. So now, what do you guys think I do? So Tim co-signed for him. I knew Tim, right? So I was more mad about him taking off on me than about the $700. I couldn't understand, you know, somebody's going to have to pay for this. So the homies wanted to smash Tim. That would have caused a full-blown riot, even though there wasn't that many white boys, blacks and whites. It just would have been a full-blown riot. So what I did was I went over to Tim that day before he went to work. I told him, and I'm sure he already knew. I'm sure Madball and his partner already told him what they did and they planned to do by getting up off the yard. So I held Tim accountable. And instead of blasting Tim, what I did was I told him he owed me $1,400. I doubled their debt up to $1,400. I knew Tim didn't have the money to pay me. I told him he owed me $1,400, and he's straight. As soon as I said, he's like, dog, I'm not going to be able to pay you that much money. And I knew that when I told him that, but I was playing chess. I knew Tim got visits every week because I used to be in the visiting room with him. So I told him that he was going to bring some dope in for me for 4 weeks straight. He was going to bring 4 clavos in for me. And at first he kind of resisted, but he didn't really have a choice. His aunt used to come see him, and his ex-wife used to come see him. And, you know, I figured Tim, he was bringing in a little weed. I knew about that. Once in a while, he'd get a little weed and try to give me weed for some crystals. So I knew he was already hitting. So that's why I utilized this situation. The homies, they didn't understand it. They straight wanted to smash all the white boys in there. But I figured, look, man, instead of the avenue I was taking to get my girl, my wife wasn't bringing in nothing. She didn't even know what I was doing. She was in the church. So I had one of the homies girl. I had my people on the street dropping off a homie in there's girl, and I get it in like that. And then I have to break him off a third for bringing it in with me. So I figured, check this out. I could get my whole packages and didn't have to give anyone shit if Tim brought my shit in. So that's what I did. Tim brought in 6 bundles for me. And then in the next month and a half, he brought in 6 bundles for me. He brought in 6 ounces for me, 3 ounces of black and 3 ounces of crystal or crank. So that's how I made him pay the debt. And people was kind of angry with me. The word got around, dog, let a white boy take off on him. But behind the scenes, they didn't know what I was doing, right? So a few months passed by. And you know, once your name, once you get a name that someone fired on you and nothing happened, and you're behind the scenes working another situation, your name people start to look at you different, right? So I had to put a couple demos down, and one of the demos was on a brother, and I know it sounds fucked up, but a brother from Oakland owed me some money, like $800. His name was Maul. He was the barber. Fired on him. I got a fight bite from that, and I got gangrene in my arm. I hit him in his gold tooth, and my shit got infected. It came to a head 7 months after this incident. Another white boy got in debt with me, and I didn't want to go through the same thing, so I ended up taking off on him, and it started a mini riot. And when I say mini riot, it was 3 of us against 2 of them, and it was like we just smashed them in the shower area. You know what I mean? But I had to do that. But I used my head, and I benefited and fed a lot of people by utilizing Tim. And I don't know if any of you guys been to California prison system, but when you sell dope in prison, it brings along a lot of bullshit. And when someone puts their hands on you, it's automatic. You're supposed to deal with that situation. I was, let me see, 2000. I was 99. I was 31 years old, been to prison since I was 19 years old. So I already had 3 trips there, and I knew better to let this white boy get away with it. But I was being greedy. What we should have did was just smashed him. Marcus and what's the name wanted to smash him anyway, but I didn't want to let that happen because I seen money signs, and I was taking care of a lot of people in that prison and a lot of people on the streets. And I owed for some dope on the street, one of my relatives. So I took it upon myself to go behind the scenes, have this cat bring the dope in, and took care of it like that. You know what I mean? A lot of people didn't agree with it, and they looked at me looked at me in different eyes because I had a name for myself in prison. This kind of changed people's opinions about me, but I didn't give a shit because I was getting my bread. A lot of people back then, you know, it was a dangerous game to be in. And I did that all my career, all my prison career. That's what I did, was I sold dope in prison. And when I say I had more fights and more weaponry involved situations because of drugs. Well, actually, I had more situations over tobacco and cell phones, because when they stopped selling tobacco, I smoked. So I found ways to bring in tobacco, cans of tobacco, and I was selling $50 bundles. I was in more fights over tobacco and cell phones. I was selling cell phones in Donovan, and I made over $200,000 in 2 years' time selling cell phones in Donovan State Prison. And that's as far south as you could get. But I had more fights over that shit than I did the dope. Because, you know, when you got convicts on heroin, they have to have it. They'll tell you anything to get it because they'll get sick without it, right? And they'll tell their family members anything. They'll lie to them and tell them they're about to get stabbed, which, you know, sometimes that is the case. They will get stabbed if they don't pay their debts. But a lot of people, a lot of dope fiends in prison, they tell their family all kind of lies to get that $100 sent on someone else's book so they could get high, man. And it's sad, but that's just the ropes in prison. That's what you gotta when you're up, that's what you're up against when you're selling drugs in prison. I did that all my life, man. And you know, if I was to do it all over again, I don't think I'd ever be in prison. If I knew what I knew now at the age of 16, I would be something else. I wouldn't be on this YouTube channel, and I would have never went to prison. That's why I feel good about my son. I know he'll never go to jail. I know he'll never. Let me knock on wood. But my son is so laced and so smart. I don't ever have a doubt. I don't ever worry about him getting into any trouble because he's seen his pops, what his pops went through, and he knew what he had to go through growing up without his dad there. So, and he just had a son, my grandson. So I doubt very seriously my son will ever get in any trouble like I did and ever end up in a box like I did. So that's my little spiel about Solano. I got 3 other stories just about Solano State Prison. Like I said, that incident with Maul, and then the little riot, the big riot we was in Solano. And I'll tell you that at another time. But tomorrow, I'm going to be on Cartoon 5-3's channel, I think between 5 and 6 p.m. Pacific time. So check me out tomorrow on Cartoon 5-3's channel. We're going to get on there and collaborate on his channel. So check me out tomorrow between 5 and 6 p.m. Pacific time. I think it's 8 o'clock his time. He's in Alabama. So check us out tomorrow. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, hit that subscription button. I also got merch. I got shirts, Prison Yard TV shirts. If you want to buy one, cash at me, send me a message. They're $25.99, but I'm also raffling 5 of them off. So if you want to buy a raffle ticket, I'll be raffling them off this month or in March. I'm raffling off 5 of them. I got different colors and different sizes. You can cash at me and I'll give you a raffle ticket, and I'm gonna be calling out. Oh, so it's first, second, third place. So first place, you get a choice of your sizes and colors of Prison Yard TV. Second place, they're black Prison Yard TV shirts with white on them. Third place, you're getting 1 shirt. So first and second place, you're getting 2 shirts. Third place, you're getting 1 shirt. You just tell me your sizes. $10 a raffle ticket. You can't beat it. The ink costs more than that just to print these shirts up. So if you want to buy a raffle ticket, hit me up. Cash out me $10. I'll give you a raffle ticket number, and I'll be raffling it off live. So you guys will see it, the winners live. I'll do a live show and do my raffle live, so you guys will see that it's all legit. So hit me up. Leave a comment. Oh shit, I can't even see the comments yet. D's nuts. What's up, homie? David Johnson. What's up, homie? Who else is keep doing your thing, dog? You're the realest channel talking about being behind them walls. Don't stop. Nah, I ain't gonna stop, homie. Rick support, you ain't worried about the feds saying you owe taxes for those 200. Nah, bro, that was years ago. It's long time ago. Long time ago. I ain't worried about the feds right now. I'm all legit. This is years ago, homie. I know a lot of people be making them comments. You worried about the feds? You was selling dope in prison, bruh. This is 2023. That was 2001. That's 22 years ago. You think they worried about me selling dope in prison 22 years ago? So, like I said, if you guys ain't subscribed to my channel, hit that subscription button on me. I only got 40% of my viewers are subscribed to my channel. I need them all. I need 100% of you guys watching my channel. I need all y'all subscribed to my channel. So hit that like button, hit that subscription button. Miller G, what's happening? Rig Saspuro. Damn, I know that last name, Saspuro. I heard that last name before. These nuts, you've been with me for a while, homie. What's happening? Who's that? Capone C. Oh, what's up, Capone? Is that Capone from Fresno? Man, that's the homie. Is that Capone C from Fresno? From Strotter? Man, if that's you, homie, Washington State, South Park, Cholo, Washington State. Hey, what part of Washington you in, homie? You know, I was down there in Walla Walla in Stafford Creek. I was in you guys' prison down there in 2006. 8-9 on up, homie. Keep the content coming for sure. Hey, South Park Cholo, what part of Washington State you in, homie? You in Tacoma? You in Seattle? You in Olympia? Where you at? Me and my bride robbed 4 banks on Halloween out there, dressed up as a witch. She went to prison for 13 years, and I got a life sentence out there in 2007. What part of Washington State you at, South Park Cholo? I probably know all your homies. Hey, they gang bang in Washington State, y'all. For reals. They gang bang like we did in the 80s. For real. Y'all wondering why I'm in my car, huh? I'm in the garage trying to be quiet so I don't wake baby up. Okay. Oh, I hear you. Why? Who is that? You in Seattle? Have you been to the pen out there, homie? Have you been to Stafford Creek or Walla Walla or Clallam Bay? Them are the prisons I was at. Clallam Bay, Walla Walla, and Stafford Creek. And what is that? What's y'all reception center? Damn, what's y'all reception center called? Every time you leave a prison, you got to go back through the reception center down there. Can I get you on 89 on up, homie? Can I get you on 89 on up, homie? What does that mean, homie? What's get you on 80? Oh, your channel? You got a channel? You want to interview me? Hey, if you want to interview me, if you want to talk about collaborating, hit my Instagram, homie, or hit my Facebook or Instagram. My Facebook is Danny King Borrows. 89 on up, got a dope channel. Okay, look, we can collab, homie. If you want to collab, hit my Instagram or email me at authoronAmission.ab@gmail.com or hit my Facebook at Danny. Here, let me put my shit in there. How do I do this shit? I don't even know how to respond to these. They don't even have a space where I could write a damn comment. Hey, hit my Instagram, King_the_great_1. King the Great One. All underscores in between the words. King the Great One. Hit me on Instagram, leave me a message, hit me on Facebook, DM me, Danny King Borrows, or email me at either protreecutter@gmail.com or authoronAmission@gmail.com. Get a hold of me, 89 on up. Homie, I'm gonna look you up right now and message you. 89 on up. Okay, we could collab. I got South Park. Yeah, I've been there at Stafford Creek myself. Oh, Shelton. Shelton's you guys' reception center. Yeah. I was at Shelton. I caught a pro. See, out there, when you go to the hole out there, it ain't called King the Great One. It's King_the_great and then the number 1, homie. King the Great One. All underscores underneath. And I'll look you up and try to message you right now. You know what? Fuck it. Call me. Here's my phone number, homie. I ain't tripping. 530-586-6807. Just hit me right now. 530-586-6807. Just hit me. We can holler right now. It's still early. It's 10:30. You got my phone number, 89 on up? Let me know you got my number. If you look at some of my my live videos, I got my phone number posted on them because I was doing salute Snoopy Mac. What's happening? You missed the video, homie. You late. 530-586-6807. That's the number. Just hit me right now. I'm gonna end this live, y'all. But check me out tomorrow on Cartoon 53. We gonna collab again, but we going on his channel tomorrow. We was already on my channel last week. I'm also gonna be out there in not Alabama. I'm gonna be out there in damn, where's that concert at? West Virginia. We having a concert out there in West Virginia with Smurf Nacho in Cartoon. I guess they're promoting a concert. I'm gonna go check that out. You got it? You got it, 89 on up. You got my number. Hit me in about 5 minutes, homie. All right, y'all. Stay safe, stay blessed. Remember, if you ain't subscribed to my channel, hit that subscription button, man. And go on and get in this raffle for these t-shirts. I finally got merch. I got wallets coming too. Okay, I got you. I got you, 89 on up. I just seen your text. Stay safe out there, y'all.